I'm a little surprised by those results. Is this a bailout?
The company was struggling, right? I mean, the president doesn't see it as a bailout. He made it very clear, we're going to get a big stake in Intel. He's a business person, and he thinks in business terms. So he said it was a no-brainer. They've gotten $11.1 billion in taxpayer money. Why shouldn't the U.S. government take a stake? But the reason why he should be concerned, and why many people are concerned, is the minute the government gets involved, you start to worry about conditionality. It happened under Biden with the CHIPS Act. Remember, they started saying, oh, if you're going to get CHIPS Act money, all of you semiconductor factories, you have to provide child care for your workers. Now, that was something new that they didn't expect. It added to costs, et cetera. All of those political motivations can start to come in. You get a lot of risk. What if Intel has to do layoffs? Now the government holds a position in a company that's laying off American workers. So it's a very, very thorny place to go.
It is. And I think some people are frustrated because the deal terms were changed after the fact. The CHIPS Act was signed into law by Congress, by the president. Here's your money under the CHIPS Act. Whether you can agree with it or not, it is a law. It was done. Now you have a new administration that's saying, oh, remember that money we gave you under the previous administration? Actually, we're still going to give you the money, but we want stock. You're changing the game after the fact.
And that is the risk of political involvement, because every time an administration changes, a leader changes, these things can happen. Now, Intel gave up a stake. They also got more lenient terms. Clawback measures were removed as well. So they got something out of this for sure. And the stock is acting positively today, right? Suggesting that people think, OK, Intel's going to survive now as a result of this.
I wonder if, Intel aside, why don't the government should take a stake in the debt? Not the equity, right?
Yeah, you're talking about. I mean, yeah.
If I'm a creditor, and now the government is ostensibly one of, if not the largest creditors on Intel, right? You'd say that they gave them $11 billion for a stake. Take the debt, take the bonds,
which is more protected. Than stocks are. Sure, that's a different way to structure the deal for sure. Remember, this all comes down to. I mean, they don't want to get to negotiating over the debt, right? Their whole goal is to keep Intel in business for national security reasons.
Yes.
Right?
We need you.
We need production here in the United States. That's why this is happening.
Ooh, I went back. I had this flashback to 2008, 2009. Michelle, remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
And the term systemically important just came back to my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought I'd never have to say those two words again.
So that is always the rationale, at least in this country. The rationale for the government getting involved in companies is because there's some kind of national security risk, there's some kind of systemic risk. It's different than there are other countries where the government just says we want a stake because that's the way it is.
What is the lesson for CEOs? So Trump was aggressively slamming Lip-Bu Tan, who's the new-ish CEO of Intel. Lip-Bu Tan goes to the White House. Now Trump is suddenly saying he's a visionary leader, he's a great guy, he's got a great backstory. What is the moral hazard here, and what is the lesson for other CEOs, which seems to me to be like, if you have a problem, go to the White House, be really, really nice, or kiss tail, and you're going to get maybe what you want.
I'm not sure what the lesson is, but I will say this. There's a dramatic difference between this administration and the previous administration, where this administration wants to talk to business. It's filled with people from the business world. They want to interact with the business world. They want the business world to succeed and to help the country succeed. It's very different than the previous administration, where you talk to people in this business world, even people who are very supportive of Biden, even people who gave him money, say there was no one to call. There was no one to see. There was no one to.
Well, they would have these meetings that were like camera staged, and they'd have names around a table, and they'd pretend to ask a question, and somebody would smile and nod. I mean, it was kind of a showy thing.
You had a cabinet that didn't have a lot of business experience, right? I mean,
or didn't meet. They went 11 months without a full meeting at one point.
When I read the Intel press release, and they're very clear about the deal structure here, this deal structure is done by people who are very familiar with deal structure and how it works.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's very illuminating to see all of that know-how at this point.
I got to imagine if you are an Intel shareholder, and they've had a very, very difficult 10-year run. I mean, it's been a money loser for 10 years. I mean, it's been awful. This provides a measure of safety.
Yes, for sure. I will say that there's also the risk of meddling in other people's business. The Morgan Stanley research report out today says the best case scenario is that the government encourages or perhaps even regulates that other companies have to use Intel's foundry, right? And that's precisely the kind of slippery slope that people argue is picking winners and losers and that the government shouldn't be doing. But now the government's got a nearly 10% stake.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they tell other, buyers of chips, you got to buy from Intel?